GoForThe2.com in with the bowl predictions. I'm not going to get into every bowl selection. I know the games kick off tomorrow afternoon with the Bahamas Bowl. I gave both of those selections out on the show last week. College football today, I gave both underdogs, Charlotte and Kent State. I'm going with the better quarterbacks in my opinion. Even though Jordan Love going to the NFL, he's got the off the field issues. Is he focused into this ball game? Even though it's his last collegiate game, I'm going with Dustin Crum and I'm going with Reynolds, the mobile quarterback for Charlotte. There's bad weather in the Bahamas Bowl, 30-mile-an-hour winds. There should be rain in the forecast. I know it favors the rushing attack of Buffalo, but I'm going with the more mobile quarterback, the dual threat in Reynolds. This is also a Charlotte team that did put up 41 points on Appalachian State earlier in the year, lost that matchup 56-41. They also put up 10 points on that Clemson defense. This is a team that has won 5 games down the stretch by 8.1 points per game. I'm taking the 49ers and I'm taking the MAC team with Kent State with the points heading into the weekend. Let's talk about 2 games that just jump out for me in terms of this weekend. Washington, Boise State. I'm going with the better quarterback, in my opinion, Jacob Eason. I know Washington hasn't lived up to expectations. I know Boise State will be in this game. They're 12-1 overall. I know Boise State has won the Las Vegas Bowl over a Pac-12 team in Oregon. I get all of that, but I think that Washington will be focused due to the fact that it is Chris Peterson's last game as head coach, due to the fact that they lost 5 conference games in the Pac-12 this year, and more importantly, haven't won a bowl game or a college football playoff game since 2015 over Southern Miss. Boise State on their third quarterback. To me, that's a big difference. I think Washington has a huge advantage in terms of the speed perspective, and I think the Huskies do get a double-digit win over Boise State. They flex their muscles Saturday night in Las Vegas this coming weekend. Late game in the Bayou. It's Appalachian State, UAB. On paper, what can you say? Appalachian State, the better team, top 25 team, number 20 in the country, but their coach Drinkowitz is now the head coach of Missouri. How does that factor into this matchup? I look at UAB on paper, a methodical offense. They're going to need to run the football to keep Zach Thomas and that offense off the sidelines. I think they can do it. I know statistically only averaging 340 total yards per game. They have some inconsistencies at the quarterback position with Hopkins and Johnston, but I still rely on that UAB defense. I know they didn't step up against FAU, and that's another reason why I'm backing the Blazers in this ball game. I think they show a better effort in their bowl game, only giving up 108 rushing yards per game, but more importantly, third down defense, 28% against opposing offenses. To me, that's the difference. Appalachian State might win, but UAB does cover this 16.5 point number Saturday night in New Orleans. Talk about some other games that are coming up on the radar in terms of contrast and styles. Wash State, Air Force, you can't get any wider than that. You have 2 sides of the pendulum. You have Washington State averaging over 400 passing yards per game. You have Air Force, a run-heavy offense led by Darrell Hammond and the crew. I'm back in Air Force here for a couple of factors. More disciplined team. They should be focused heading into this matchup. They have a very physical offensive line, speed on the perimeter, and more importantly, I look at Washington State. Cause of concern for me. Giving up 170 rushing yards on the ground, co-defensive coordinators. That's always a big problem in terms of which coordinator will have the call going up against the triple option. It's a lot different in game speed than it is practice preparation, and I do feel that Air Force strikes a double-digit win over Washington State in that bowl game. Some other bowl games that I have my eye on, USC and Iowa. To me, it's a speed advantage. I know Iowa's defense only has allowed 12 passing touchdowns all season long, but 3 games on the docket this year, they have allowed over 300 yards passing. Iowa State, Purdue, and Minnesota. This is nothing like the group that they're going to have to face with Michael Pittman, St. Brown, and Vaughns that have combined this year for 23 receiving touchdowns, over 2,900 receiving yards, and a hot quarterback in Keaton Slovis, 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 71% completion percentage. The speed of USC is the difference. Last time they played in the Holiday Bowl, they lost to Wisconsin, but more importantly, for a recruiting aspect, and Clay Helton, they are all talking about the recruiting class for USC. This is an opportunity within state to get some more recruits before February and, more importantly, gain momentum into 2020. I think USC wins this ball game 17 points or more against Iowa in this matchup, even though Iowa shows well under Kirk Ferentz. I know Hayden Fry unfortunately passed away this week. To me, it doesn't matter. USC plus the 2.5 and on the money line over the Hawkeyes in that matchup. Best bowl bet of the whole bowl season. I talked about it. If you watch some of my videos, Georgia versus Baylor. I understand DeAndre Swift might not play. Isaiah Wilson moving on to the NFL probably will not play. I get Baylor has stepped up against the competition. They're this year 11-2 overall. More importantly, have stepped up from the ATS angle, 6-0 against bowl teams. I understand that. But let's keep in mind, Georgia got blown out in the SEC championship game. They lost the Sugar Bowl last year. Are they a top 5 team? A lot of people are questioning that. They have top 5 talent across the board. Their backups are better than Baylor's starters. I think Kirby Smart coaches his talent up. There's not a lot of seniors in terms of the skilled players. Look for Zamir White to step up. He's a playmaker, top 100 athlete last year in terms of top recruits. He gets to showcase his talent, averaging 5 yards per carry. Jamari Sailor will take over for Isaiah Taylor. Lined open up at 8.5. It's down to 6.5. I think Georgia flexes their muscle. This game's going to be won on the interior, and that's where I have concerns for Baylor's offensive line that has allowed 35 total sacks on the year. If you thought that they struggled with Oklahoma's defense that did register 6 sacks in the Big 12 championship game, going to be nothing like what they're going to face against the Bulldogs. Remember that game, Georgia versus Hawaii with Colt Brennan? I think it reminds me eerily similar of that matchup. Line is 6.5. I think Georgia wins this ball game convincingly. Double digits, easy win over the Bears in that ball game. We're just getting started. All the bowl picks will be up. Like I said, college football today, this Saturday, in 2 days, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., Channel 517, Pluto TV, go through all the bowl matchups. We'll take you through from Saturday through Friday, and then next weekend, the 28th, straight through the college football playoff. We're just getting started. Ask me the games that you want to know. I'll tweet it out to you if I like a side, but the schedule is just catching up to me. I apologize. We'll see you in the new year. Catch the show, all the bowl picks, straight through the college football playoff. Have a great weekend, everyone.